Well, hello, everyone. I am National Sales Director Dawn Otten-Sweeney, and this is Let's Talk Money. And this is actually going to turn into a little series. The first one, we're talking about profit from the sale of the products. Let's Talk Money 2, we're going to talk about team building. And Let's Talk Money 3 is going to be the Mary Kay career path. So I encourage you to get pen and paper because I want you to write some of these things down, whether you're a consultant or a guest. Consultants, I want you to write it down because I want to make this so simple that you're excited to share how we make money with friends, family, customers, because we do not have a difficult marketing plan. I've been doing this for 39 years, and I'm just sharing this with you. I'm really, it should be a marketing plan that you can just share with women, and you don't need a lot of handouts and you don't need a lot of words, as you're going to see when we go through this, but also to give you confidence that, women can understand this easily. I will tell you, the longer you're in the direct selling industry, I have sat down with, I think, every single company on the planet. They're like, we just want you to see it. If you're that good at Mary Kay, you'd love to do this. I'm like, I'm not doing anything else, but I'll help you out. And honestly, after they get past the third sentence, the third set of legs, the third set of volume bonuses, I'm lost. Like, I don't even know what they're talking about. And Mary Kay set up a system that was so simple because she had been in direct sales for 25 years before she retired. She was a single mom supporting her family in direct sales and had gotten remarried, retired, and wanted to give women an opportunity that she didn't have. And so she took out all the things that she didn't like, and she kept the things and added the things that she thought were in the best interest of women that she wished she would have had when she was out there building her business to pay her family bills. And so a pen and paper, I think, is handy. Guest, you may be watching a replay of this or on live. At the end, your consultant needs to get the answers to a couple questions from you. And she's going to want to know, and or her director, because her director may be teaching this consultant who's new or going into a leadership training program. So they're doing practice interviews. So this is the info that gets discussed at a practice interview, but it doesn't really count as a practice interview until we get your feedback. Because if it's just information going out, it's called marketing. If it's a conversation and we're finding out what your concerns are, what your needs are, what your interest level is, then that becomes a practice interview. And then it can become enough information for you then to be able to say, yeah, I want to try this, or no, this is who I know that needs to hear this. And so that is how I would love to have you follow up with this. And in Mary Kay, we always gift you for your opinions and helping out. So in guests that are on or consultants, you can put questions in the chat. After I get done recording this, I am going to stop the recording, and then I can answer questions that are in the chat for guests or consultants. So what I want all you to do, consultants and guests, you can raise your hand if you want. We're on a Zoom. Is there anyone that needs more money? Anyone needs more money for something? Most people in this economy need, I think the average is $500 a month minimum they need just to make ends meet. What about who needs money for a season of life? Maybe it's, kids you want to put in a private school or college, or helping out in a ministry with finances, or taking care of aging parents, or paying off some debt, or planning for a vacation. All of those things take money. So what I want you to do is think of something that you'd like to pay for in the next 3 months. So, 3 months from now, right now it's the middle of June, July, August, September. By the middle of September, something that you'd like to pay for in 90 days. Write that down. And then next to it, I want you to, you know, write down what it is. And in the chat, will you put in there what is it that you want to do with that money? So what is it for and how much is it? And I'm just picking 90 days because you can say you want to do this dream vacation that's going to take 5 kids to Disney World. It's going to take more than probably 3 months of selling Mary Kay. You absolutely can do that. But I want to just show you in simple math. In 90 days, what is it going to cost to make that happen? Maybe it's going away for a weekend. Maybe it's, taking over the car note on your husband's car. Maybe it's, paying a mortgage payment, whatever it is. And I'm just going to use the number $1,000. You want $1,000 extra that's not coming out of your budget, your grocery store money, your Christmas money, $1,000. I want to give you a formula. Write this formula down. So the profit that you want is 1,000. You're going to divide that by the number of months that you want to have that money in. So I'm going to say 3 months in this situation, but just pick this formula is going to work with whatever amount of time and how much, the dream cost. So the profit divided by the number of months, I'm using 3 right here. And then you divide by 0.4. You always do that. Divide by 0.4, which is 40%. And then you divide that by 4 weeks for 4 weeks in a month. So when I took 1,000, divided it by 3 months, divided by 0.4, divided by 4 weeks, I came up with like $203. I didn't write that number down. So I think it's pretty much $203. That would be the amount that you'd have to sell in Mary Kay retail a week for the next 90 days to have $1,000 cash profit. It means you're buying things for $1, you're selling them for $2. So we make 50% profit. I love that. It's just easy. Everyone makes 50% profit. I've been in this 39 years. I'm a national sales director. I buy for $1, I sell for $2. A brand new consultant who is in one day buys for $1 and sells for $2. But that $203 a week isn't even one party. It would be for 200 a week. That would be 2, 4, 6, 800 a month. Honestly, you could do that in one party. When people are selling Time-Wise Repair and our clinical solutions line that competes with med spas, they're averaging $150 a face. So I'm not talking about, sitting around a table with poor college students for all 4 of those parties. My daughter was a poor college student when she started, and I said, for this much sales, you need this many college students, or you need this many of their moms, grandmas, and aunts. So you get to pick how many faces you want to do. Because obviously a 17 or 18-year-old doesn't buy generally all the anti-aging and all the clinical solutions. It just makes sense. And you're taught that. Because the great thing in Mary Kay, when you decide to do this to make money, we teach you how to do that. So that little formula there is so helpful. And guests that are on, I would like you to have that conversation with your consultant. What would you use the money for, and when do you need it, and what would it look like at Mary Kay? And then are you willing to let us teach you how? Consultants and directors, I want you to do the same. What do you want in 90 days to pay for with your Mary Kay business? Maybe you want to go 6 months out. Maybe the longer I'm in the business, the longer away my goals are, because my attention span, like I know I can make money. And so in the beginning, I needed to see cash profit right away, because I was working 80 hours a week in a job I had just graduated from business school, or in the mid 80s. And so they were working us like dogs. I had credit card debt that I couldn't seem to get out from underneath, because as soon as I started to pay one down, something else would happen that you had to pay for. And interest was killing me. And so when I was exposed to this information, it was at a Mary Kay event, which this could be considered a Mary Kay event. And the women were sharing, they were all different ages, all different reasons they got started, but they were sharing what they were doing with their Mary Kay monies in addition to paying bills. Because obviously, if we can do this for a dream, we can also do this to pay bills. But I have found out, like in the beginning, I was doing it to get out of credit card debt, and then I was doing it to pay bills. But in addition to those things, I think it's always smart to have a fun goal that you're working for versus just, and not just, I mean, I'm happy I can pay the mortgage with my Mary Kay. I'm happy that my husband could retire when he was 32, because after my first 10 years in Mary Kay, I had proven to myself and my family that it could pay the bills, and I was willing to do the work to pay the bills. But Mary Kay gives you fun things too. Right now we're in June. You may be listening to this in Thanksgiving, but Mary Kay's year runs July 1st to June 30th. So this is the championship season of Mary Kay, and the rewards are Trox cars and Equinoxes and pink Cadillacs. There's trips to Budapest and Prague, all expenses paid for you and your spouse, or you can bring a friend or a son, a daughter. They just can't be in the sales force, and they have to be over 18, I think. So that's a fun thing to work for. So in addition to making money to pay your bills, Mary Kay gives us Cinderella prizes. But before you're winning big Cinderella prizes, along the way, you're getting little Cinderella prizes. You set this up for yourself because then you're seeing how you can make money with Mary Kay. So when a woman asks you, at one of your parties, or, in the grocery store line, or at the travel volleyball game with your child, how's it going? Just say, great, this is what I just paid for. This is what I'm working for. Because most people in their jobs are not really excited about it. They're exchanging really their time for their money. So you make 50% profit with every product you sell. The thing that we focus you on selling is teaching skincare and teaching women how to take care of their skin with the Mary Kay skincare line, because we have the highest brand loyalty in the cosmetic industry with our skincare. Brand loyalty means that more women who start using it stick with it the rest of their lives. If they lose a consultant because a consultant doesn't changes their mind and doesn't be a consultant, we encourage them to give their customers to an active consultant. But if they don't, that woman will find another consultant. She'll go on to marykay.com. She'll put some zip codes in, which when you become a consultant, one of the things that Mary Kay offers you is a professionally designed and maintained website. And you get to pick 5 zip codes that you'd like to get leads from. And they can be anywhere in the country, maybe places you want to travel, you want to work, or you can do it virtually, which is so fantastic now. Your geographic location does not inhibit you in any way, shape, or form. I was in very small towns my first 10 years in Mary Kay. And a lot of people didn't build in those towns because they said it was too small. But I was trained by Mary Kay Ash, and I remember her saying, the only thing that's going to hold you back is this 6 inches between your ears, and that's your thinking. And so if you think that it's too small, it is. But if you think that you can do it because those women in a small town have nowhere else to shop, you have a captive audience, and they have neighbors and friends, and then they know people in other cities that know people in other cities. And now again, with virtual, it just starts to snowball even faster. Let's talk about we teach you how to get your customers. We teach you how to manage your time. We teach you the words to say. We teach you everything you need to know about skincare and color. No previous experience in running a business, in doing social media, in turning on a computer is necessary. We're going to teach you all of that. What you have to want to do is learn, and you have to have a goal of what your activity in Mary Kay is going to give you. It's a business, so that's equated in dollars. You are going to get personal growth. You are going to be part of a culture that cheers women on. Mary Kay started this business to give women an opportunity to be paid what they're worth around the priorities of God first, family second, and career third. And this is really where I've grown up. I started this when I was 23. I've been in 39 years. I've done it single, married, babies, teenagers, college kids, a daughter married, now with the grandson, aging parents. I mean, really the whole full circle thing. And honestly, I'm so grateful someone taught me this about how to make money, because if someone wouldn't have taught me how the money works with there and what the potential was and the training and the support, you can just do this for a little bit of extra money. But I had a lot of credit card debt. I needed more than a little bit of extra money. And I had just gone to business school and was thinking about going back to get my master's. So I needed to see the whole big Mary Kay picture of where these sales could lead you. And that's where the team building comes in. And that's where the leadership training comes in. And that's what I'm going to cover in part 2 and part 3. But everyone starts here. And I love that. Because when I started, Debbie Moore did not say, okay, you have a business degree from the University of Michigan. You're just going to be a national sales director. I wouldn't have been a very good national sales director because I wouldn't have known, what you experience when you're shy and you have to figure out how to get customers. What do you do when you move to a new town and your husband leaves the door for work and you're like, what am I supposed to do? How do I meet people? How does this work? Like, I had people teaching me those things all along the way so that I can teach this, not just in theory, but in practice. I have said, and I believe it to be true, once you've bought a starter kit, that's the only thing that's mandatory when you start. You have to get a consultant number so the company knows that you want to buy products from them at cost and sell them at retail, and allow your director to teach you how to do it. That's the only thing that is required. You do have the opportunity to have inventory on hand and be a business owner versus an order taker. That's your choice. When I started, I wanted to be a business owner because after working 80 hours a week, when I went to teach women, which is flipping a flip chart, squirting the products in the tray, which you have a profile card or a skin analyzer app that tells you exactly what the products are, whether you're doing it virtually or in person, you're going to be totally equipped to get the right products on her face and then hold up a roll-up bag filled with the different set options and saying which set's best for you. And when you do that, a third will buy skincare. And then they start washing it down the drain every night. And they have a personal beauty consultant in you. And you can go on to my website. You can go on to Mary Kay's, Mary Kay in Touch, and get any question answered that you would need to know. And you still have a recruiter and a director to help you. But one party, an average party, $50 a face is minimum we see. And people who are working in time-wise repair, it's over 100 to 150 per face. So you could do those parties separately, or you could do them all on one Saturday and have the people come to your house at multiple times or meet them at theirs. Like that, you have total flexibility geographically and how you mix it up. I've had RNs that they're doing parties when they get off shifts at 3 a.m. because that's when they want to shop. They're sleeping during the day, doing stuff with their kids, and then heading back to the hospital. Let's talk about how reorders could build. You make 50% on the profit of the products. And let's just say that you put the products on 30 faces in a month. If you take, again, you may want to write this down, 30 faces in a month, and we're going to teach you what target market means. And 30 target market faces times 50 equals 1,500 in retail sales. And that 0.4 that I shared, I'm sharing with you a 40, we make 50% profit, but we encourage you to do a 40-60 split because the extra 10% you're then using for samples, hostess credit, your brochures, et cetera. So 1,500 retail times 40%, that's $600 monthly profit. 30 faces, again, you could do in less than, 7 to 9 hours a week. That's very generous. That's a lot. I'd say 20 hours a month for 30 faces. You times 600 monthly profit by 12 months, that's $7,200 profit a year. Write that down, 7,200 in a year. What could you do with that? Because that dramatically changes people's budgets. $7,200. If the average American family is making under 60,000 and 7,200 profit, that's 10% of it that you're keeping. You're an independent contractor. You have tax benefits. If you made that same 7,200 profit in retail sales to make extra money over the holidays, you're keeping a little over half of it, maybe 3/4 if you're lucky. Plus you get prizes from the company. Plus those women are washing the products down the drain every night. So with 10 new skincare customers a month, 10 a month, times 12 months, it's 120 new skincare customers in a year. I'm saying a skincare customer orders 200 a year. That's low. That's real low. But in Mary Kay, we've always I'd rather under promise and over deliver. So 120 customers times 200 equals 24,000 retail. Your profit, 9,600. So if you did just 30 faces in a month, your second year, you'd have, 9,600 profit from your reorders plus the 7,200 profit. I mean, we're talking 6, 7, 8, 16, $17,000 for a very part-time job. That's exciting. I'm not saying easy money, because nothing, we tell you that you can sit on your couch and not do anything and make money. I'm telling you that if you will share this product and teach women how to take care of their skin, there is a lot of money to be made in Mary Kay. I am gonna pop Alden on here to share, because in June, the company's doing a 55% off on skincare, different skincare sets. And so I want you to see the value of just an extra 5%. Like, we take it for granted we make 50%, but once in a while, the company will do a 55%. Sometimes right now it's on skincare. Sometimes it'll just be limited edition products or flash bundles. But if you're a businesswoman, you want to maximize and take advantage of these sales the company gives to us every time, because you may think that 5% doesn't make a difference, but it does. And that's important when we're talking about money. You may think as a consumer, 5% off, a 5% off sale, like you're not going to charge the rack. Like, you charge a rack for 50%, but let's talk about 5% extra of what that could look like on top of your 50%, since we're talking about money. Okay, Otten-Sweeney Wideout, please share with us this extra 5%. Being a smart businesswoman, what does that look like?
Okay, you guys. So I broke down these numbers in detail yesterday, if I'm being honest with you. And I started blowing my own mind. So I wanted to share this with you guys. And I still, if you notice, my name is very similar to Dawn's name. So I am her daughter. So I grew up in a Mary Kay household, and I will very openly admit I am out of touch with regular world reality sometimes, because when I Googled a quick Google search yesterday, I was alarmed to find out that women still in 2025 make 83 cents to a man's dollar. Alarmed. I could not even believe my eyes. And what I love is that that's why Mary Kay started this company, is because she saw in the early 60s that there was an even bigger gap. But I don't care. Any gap is too much of a gap in my world for the same job. And with Mary Kay, I love it. If you don't have to play that game. You can play in Mary Kay and make way more money for your time. And I also was a little alarmed that the average American woman makes $53,000 a year. working full time. And so I broke that down, and that's about $25 an hour, you guys. And you just heard Dawn break down how much you can make in a skincare class. I usually say a skincare class averages 500, profit 250, and it takes 2 hours if you're in person. If it's virtual, it's even less time. So that could be, if it takes max 3 hours, that's $83 an hour. If it's 2 hours, you're making $125 an hour. Or if it's 1 hour, it's $250 an hour. That gets you towards your extra income very, very quickly. But with this 50%, 55% off sale, I realized that it's essentially a 5% raise. And I know very real life with my husband being in corporate America and just, the people that I do know when I do pay attention to what life's like outside of Mary Kay. And I find it quite depressing, to be honest with you, when it comes to money. That a 5% raise on the national women's average income would be $2,650. Well, I am here to tell you guys that with Mary Kay, with this 55% off discount that they're giving us, if you chose to max out on the bundles of skincare that they are allowing us to purchase, you could profit $3,841. That's a lot of extra money, you guys. Like if we said, here, Dawn, here's $3,841 today. What are you going to do with it in 24 hours? What would you guys do with that? Like, that's something that's significant. And what that turned out to be is that you would make $700 extra with the 55% off bundles compared to if you just bought them at the 50% discount. $700 extra, you guys. If you're working a job where you get paid $25 an hour, I know when taxes come out, you're probably seeing $18 an hour. But even if we keep it at $25 an hour for $700 profit, you have to work 28 hours. This is when I started getting extremely alarmed because in Mary Kay, to make that $700 profit, we're talking 2 to 4 parties. And the best part is, Dawn already shared, they reorder the products, you guys. You're no longer in the place of exchanging your time for that money and one and done. You're investing into your future. And when I started at 19, I knew that because I had seen that in my mom's Mary Kay career. And I knew, okay, Alden, I'm going to invest 10 hours a week in my Mary Kay business around my college schedule. And you guys, I'm almost 13 years into my career and I still have customers from when I was sitting on dorm room floors learning how to teach women how to wash their face with Mary Kay products. I'm getting paid over a decade down the line from the time invested for a skincare class when I was 19 years old. Could you get excited about your work that you do now, paying you in 3 months, in 6 months, 9 months, 5 years, 10 years down the road? That's something that I know as a woman, I'm willing to invest my time in that because I know it's multiplying. And that's what's exciting with Mary Kay is we make a lot of money in short time periods when you choose to, wisely get products on women's faces, teach them skincare, and, service them with golden rule customer service that, like Dawn shared, they stick with you. But I'm willing to invest small pockets of time around a very busy schedule to support my family for years to come. So this June is really important. 55% off is a huge raise. And I hope you guys look at it that way. So if I'm a consultant, I'm maxing that out. If I'm a guest, I'm saying, yes, 50% profit already intrigued me. The income potential already intrigued me, but 55%, I'm all in because that is a significant amount of extra money. So and our consultants, will be able to resource all of our guests with any of this information, and our directors will be able to resource all of our consultants with that information as well, because it's significant income that you can make.
Okay, so in wrapping up, before I launch into answering some questions, I think the only thing I didn't share is the cost to get that consultant number. And so when I started 39 years ago, it was $85. Now, if you want the same things, well, actually, they give you way more. It's $125. You can do a $35, they call it an e-start, that gets you a consultant number. It gives you your website, your credit card processing through ProPay that Mary Kay uses, and access to all the training and support. But the 125 to me makes the most sense. 35 only really makes sense if you're like, I want to get my products at half off. Like, why would I try the products for the first time, or why would I continue to buy them and not take advantage of the 50% this month, 55%? But that's it. Like, I'm not sharing this product with anyone. I'm not talking about the Mary Kay business. If that's you, $35 e-start makes sense. But if you're like, well, I'd kind of like to see how it goes, get the 125 so you have all the tools so that you can do your business in person or virtually with all like full size skincare sets to help you do that, and all the everything you need, mirrors and trays, all your sample products, etc., to do that first 30 faces. That would be my best recommendation. After that, we already said, you're going to get to have inventory if you want. You're not forced into a position that you are always an order taker. And really, anyone that you may look at as our competition that does online selling or, brick and mortar, they have inventory, but that's not a woman's business. That is a person that's getting an hourly wage to sell you and support the stockholders' business. This is your own business that with your own inventory. And Mary Kay was so wise because she knew that a lot of women weren't big risk takers with money. And so what she did is she set up a 90% buyback. So if you have products on your shelf, after 39 years, I could say, this is the amount of products I have on my shelf that I bought in the last year, and I'm not doing this anymore. And they would buy it back at 90% of what I paid for it. They have to burn it because they can't resell it to us, and you can't be a consultant again. So we want to take that very seriously. This is not a flip it decision. So no one wants to waste all that product, nor have a bridge burned. But I looked at it this way. I went to college and then started my job and didn't love it. And I saw the women in the positions that I was going to have to go back to school for and really didn't love their life. And no one was buying back that 4 years of college. If you buy a house and the market tanks or the interest rates go up or whatever the case may be, no one's buying that back from you. Mary Kay gave something to us that's such a gift for women to say, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a business owner. I want to have mentors that are going to teach me how to do it, that Mary Kay pays them for versus, you having to find business mentors. And you guys be careful. There are so many people out there coaching and mentoring. If they've never built a successful Mary Kay business, why are you paying them to teach you how to build a successful Mary Kay business or whatever? Like, make sure they're successful at what they have done, not that they're just successful at giving advice. Mary Kay only pays sales directors and nationals who have proven to the company that they know how to build a customer base. They know how to time manage, money manage, team build, pass the opportunity on. So with that information, that is how we make money selling the product. And so you do want to give feedback to your consultant. What stood out? What is that dollar amount and what would you use it for? And are you willing to get a consultant number and give it a go? If not, are there questions that have to be answered so that you can make a decision based on fact versus fear and faith versus fiction? And if there's nothing about it that interests you as far as building a business and making money with Mary Kay, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's a plan B, which is very wise to have no matter what age you're at in this economy, a plan B is super smart for a woman to have. But if it's not for you, then who? Because I believe that if anyone's listening to it, if it's not for them, it's to someone that you know. And please pass it on. Your consultant will lavish you with Mary Kay products for recommending someone to her and connecting her with this opportunity. So you guys, thank you for listening. I'm going to pop this off, and our Let's Talk Money 2, we will be talking about team building.